Welcome to the Road is Dead podcast. I'm your host, Rob Curtis, here in the studio with everybody today.
Leah.
Tim. Hi, guys.
Sorry about making it awkward.
Why is it awkward?
I don't know.
It always do the same stuff all the time. That gets like boring.
Yeah, well, I've never been known for being exciting, let's say. So it's Thursday, May 22nd.
Yes.
I just realized it's my parents' wedding anniversary and or my mom's birthday, one of the two. Let me get a moment for that. Anyway, tonight is the opening night at the track. Finally, Northbrook Velodrome. We were supposed to do it last week, and it got rained out last minute. So we're going to be there at the track tonight. Opening night sponsored by Buttonhole Chamois Cream. Go out and get yourself some Buttonhole Chamois Cream. Go to your local and favorite retailer. By the way, those of you listening to it are making a little bump. I have been getting shops that used to carry it that are now hitting us up saying that they're having people come in and ask for it from the podcast. So
nice.
Awesome.
Do appreciate that. They were like, the stories I've heard pretty much all go some variant of somebody came in, said, hey, I was told to ask for a Buttonhole Chamois Cream. And they say, yeah, we used to carry it. I don't know why we don't carry it right now. And then they call me up and they order some cream. So that's always some good thing.
And you tell them you love them.
That I did do on the last one.
That's hysterical.
The guy that called from the shop that was setting up, resetting up and putting a new order in, he goes, yeah, it's the only chamois cream I use. I don't know why we haven't had it. I've just been buying it in other places. And he reiterated that at the very end of the conversation as we were doing the Midwestern, all right, yeah, well, all right, sounds good. See you later. Talk to you later. Thanks again. That kind of stuff.
Goodbye.
Yeah. And at the end, he was like, yeah, no, I can't get enough of this stuff. And I go, I went to say, yeah, I love it. And it came out, yeah, I love you. Right. And then it was kind of awkward for half a second. Then I hung up. So my apologies.
Oh, that's hysterical. That's a good one.
And then I kind of just went, should I call him back?
Nah, just let that one die.
Should I just be
let
like,
that one die?
Hey, about the whole love you comment.
Yeah. I thought maybe you got a text from your kid or something and you were like, had that in your mind for half a second. It was just like,
no, it's I don't know. I don't really know how it happened. It just happened. And I kind of went, yeah, we're going to let that one go. Forget about that.
That's a good one.
Maybe that needs to be your thing.
Love you. I don't, maybe
Just
you guys aren't
make
this
it
way,
awkward.
but
Make it awkward.
I really don't appreciate that there's some sayings that some people now are doing that I just don't like. The appreciate you one. Do you guys, ever
It's
hear
been going on for
appreciate you?
a while.
Yeah.
First time I started hearing it was on, the hell's the name of the show? Where they look for antique archaeology is the name of the company. Mike Wolf.
American Pickers?
There you go.
It's a good show.
Yeah, and he'd always be like, yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah.
I started hearing that a bunch of years ago, him doing that. Now I'm hearing more and more people do that. And I know it's coming from a meaningful place, a good place, but there are times where I've kind of like, when you say appreciate you, it's almost like, yeah, I don't like you, but I appreciate what you're doing for me right now. It's almost kind of like how it comes across to me. I know it's meant completely opposite of that.
It's like, why do we have to reinvent the thank you?
Yeah, just a thank you is good, in my opinion. Or, that could be my new one. Instead of appreciate you, I could just be love you.
Yeah. Yeah, it works.
Love you.
It works.
Yeah.
I said run with it.
Have people be like,
Just run with it
Yeah.
until someone's like, what the fuck you mean? And then don't do it anymore.
You never know how badly somebody maybe needed to hear that day.
Maybe needs just a verbal,
Just spread
I
a
love
little
you.
love.
all right, I'm not going to do
Okay.
this, so I don't know why I'm still talking about it.
Spread the cream, spread the love.
Mm.
Okay, moving on.
Spread the love while you spread the cream.
No, let's not.
Spread the cream.
On a mission.
Love spreading the cream.
We have just lost half of our audience, so let's move on.
I'm thinking of new taglines for Enzo's.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway,
I think it's
Right.
doing good. Let's leave it.
yeah, no, I know. So lots of stuff. We've been doing the every other week thing. It's kind of the season. It's kind of how things get as we get busy. But we're not giving up on it. We're still running at it. But one thing that did come up, this was that I wanted to talk about here. This came out on May 13th. So what, 12 days ago or 9 days ago, excuse me. It hit the Endurance Sports Wire. And the title of this is this is the future of bike racing. So we had to see it, and it's something completely new that no one has ever thought of.
Yeah.
Because it's the future of bike racing.
Didn't they say that with the NCL?
Hey,
where's that at now?
So it leads with high speeds, tight corners, no brakes. Welcome to Formula Fixed.
Well, if you're doing crit racing right, you shouldn't be using your brakes.
Well, I agree. So they got a website, formulafix.com. Basically, a bold new cycling format at the crossroads of sports, gaming, and entertainment. Inspired by the raw intensity of fixed-geared street racing. What the fuck is fixed-geared street racing? And the ingenuity of modern, reimagined sports like TGL and unrivaled Formula Fixed is not your average race series. It's a cultural movement on wheels. If you haven't vomited into your mouth already, let me continue. Launching officially for the 25-26 Pro Series.
Oh, God.
Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to jump around a bit. Although the whole thing is just gold. It's just eye rolling from top to bottom. 94% of people know how to ride a bike. But our ability to convert them into fans or consumers of cycling as a sport is fundamentally broken. No shit. We're not here to tweak the old model. We're here to tear it down and rebuild it from scratch. Never heard that. Proof of concept. Okay, so here's the good one. So they apparently held an event last October at an indoor F1 race facility in California. So wait a minute. So they're using the indoor go-kart tracks.
Pretty much.
Well, they do this already in Europe.
Yeah. It's all over YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah.
I've watched quite a few of them.
I have too. But apparently they said they did one in California last year as a live case study, and they reached 5.6 million in digital reach from just 32,000 followers. Anyone want to call bullshit on any of that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, where are they getting these numbers from?
A 175 times amplification without spending $1 on paid media.
That's bullshit.
And it sold out of spectator tickets. Translation, you handed them all out.
Yeah, and if you've ever been in one of those facilities, they're fucking small.
Yeah. By comparison, legacy events with influence rosters of 1 million plus average far less than that, only a 15 times amplification. Blah, blah, blah. This format is broadcast friendly, spectator first, built into a complete viral movement. Okay, you said the word viral.
Does it mention who is investing in this?
Yeah, hold on. So Formula Fix will launch a 2-day qualifying tournament in the fall of 2025, ahead of its winter 2026 Pro Series. Pro Series, not the Amateur Series. They have an Eastern qualifier, September 2025. Location TBD.
So that's not.
That's about all you need to know there. Western qualifier, San Francisco Bay Area, September 13th and 14th. Part of events surrounding the Oakland Grand Prix. Still no location. Top finishers, along with a series of selected auto qualifiers, will qualify for conference play. The Eastern Conference will take place in February 2026, Western in February 2026, and the Formula Fixed Championship in March of 2026. Each weekend will include short track and stadium crit events, plus cargo bike races and kids races.
Cargo bike races. Are you serious, Clark?
Hey, whatever.
Cargo bike races.
What the heck?
You know what a
Let's
cargo
see.
bike is?
Okay, this sounds like somebody, somebody that was a
like somebody that was heavy into fixed gears, and then that trend went away. So they got a job as a DoorDash delivery person with a cargo bike, and then was like making a delivery one day and was like, "Man, it'd be so cool if my cargo bike could be fixed gear and we could race this and make a series out of it."
Dude, I don't know. This just reeks of they hired somebody that writes copy that knows nothing about cycling.
Oh, this is going to die in the water. This is not even going to get off the ground.
Okay, so influencer athletes who took part in last year's showcase event, either as participants or attendees, include, and they only have these people's @, their sign-ins for, I don't know. I'm assuming Instagram. I don't know. I'm an old guy, so maybe it's fucking something else.
Maybe I'll know.
Kim Nonstop.
Nope, don't know.
That is Apple Fitness Plus instructor and a fixie icon, apparently. This is the one that got me. Justin Williams, founder of Legion of LA.
That's like saying, here's this big star in cycling. We need somebody that knows what they're doing.
Blake of Today, lifestyle creator and former racer. Never heard of him. Terry Barnston, filmmaker, videographer, and content creator. Plus, Alec Briggs.
He's good. He's super good.
Okay. Alfredo Bueno. Chelsea Wolf. Lucas Bergone.
Lucas Burgoyne, he's super good too.
Melissa Martucci, and more.
Yeah.
No breaks, no masters. That's the Formula Fix mantra. No breaks, no masters.
I wasn't planning on racing that anyway. No. The guy Alex Briggs, I've watched a lot of his stuff. He does interesting. He has some interesting content, but he did a lot of those European like parking lot races and things like that, single speed a lot. He's very good at it. He's very, very good at it.
I don't doubt that this is going to be fun to watch, but it's not going to be.
It's not going to revolutionize cycling.
Yeah.
No.
It's not going to revolutionize the sport of cycling. It's just another thing.
Definitely not. All right, so keep your eyes open for that. Formula Fixed, apparently. And, remind us an email in a year when we've all forgotten about it to go back and touch base with the fact that it never happened.
Yeah, I mean, for those in the fixed gear community and those that are hyped on fixed gear racing, good for you for trying to create something, have something that's your own, that you can identify with, that you could have fun with, that the fixie crowd can get behind and have their quote unquote bike party. That's cool. Good for them. But I just don't see it, like it said, revolutionizing cycling.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
it's not going to.
More fixed gear crits? Okay, fine, sure. I enjoy watching them, and a lot of people enjoy racing them. I have no problem with them. It's not going to revolutionize cycling.
Well, are they even incorporated in Toad or Intelli anymore? They did it for a few years.
They did it for a few years.
Disappeared.
I don't know if it was there last year. I know it was like 2 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago was the last time I saw it.
Yeah,
and it was only at like one. It was definitely at Fulton.
Yeah, it was at the
sure.
last race of the series. One year they had it at a couple races. I think they did it at Elgin.
They did like
there was
a year of Intelli where there was like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
I remember that. Which, if you want to incorporate it in that again, that would be, in my opinion, the way to do it. But
by the way, it's not Intelli; it's Chicago Grit.
It'll always be Intelli.
Yeah, can we harp on things that bug us?
No, but
it's always going to be the Sears Tower.
Yeah, right.
Fuck
right?
yeah, it is.
No, curious to see where it goes, and even if it leaves the ground.
Yeah. So, like I said, hit us up, and you can hit us up an email. Speaking of email, we finally got a couple emails. Thank you. I'm pointing to a camera somewhere. There we go. Thank you all for those that sent emails. There was a very long one from Michael DiPiero. Great guy to ride with. Enjoy. Thank you for listening. He's got a lot here. I don't know how much of it we're going to hit, but just stop me as we go. First thing, the 7-Eleven Liège Bastogne Liège kits. Basically, what do we think? Do we think that this should happen more, that there should be more retro kits, more retro jerseys?
No. That's my opinion.
Why?
I don't I mean, it's cool to look at, but I don't think it should be brought back into the Peloton.
Well, what do you think about it?
I thought it was cool. When I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a pretty neat idea. And then I was kind of like, why though? And I started to look at it, and then I read an article, and it somehow someone involved in the Uno X team that
yes
brought it back had a tie to the 7-Eleven thing.
It is, from what I understand, Uno X, the parent company, owns the parent company is associated with the team, also or associated with Uno X or whatever, has the rights to 7-Eleven marketing in like whatever Norwegian northern,
okay, which makes sense because Uno X is a Norwegian team.
Right. In that, so they have a vested interest in promoting the brand, and they just saw a cool crossover possibility.
I could see that. Makes sense.
But no one from the original team was even remotely associated with it.
Okay. You know, and if I was a member of the original team, I don't know how I would have felt about that. But it was cool to see it, but I wouldn't want to see it all the time.
I will say that well, sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I don't have anything else to say.
We're getting fucking texts every 3 seconds, and now I'm just getting one from her sitting right next to me.
I was responding to Mr. Smott, who wanted to know if you were going to the track today.
Of course I'm going.
Are
to
we?
the track.
He just said he was going to the track.
Well, Smotty's not here. I'll give him that one.
He wanted a ride tonight. So
from me?
Yeah. And I figured you were busy talking. So anyway, resume.
So
we're trying to do a podcast here, people.
Yeah. My general take, I think everyone listening to this for any period of time knows that 7-Eleven is kind of the reason why I am in this sport.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid in the 80s, and remember, the 80s were different, man. That was when it was all about American exceptionalism on the world stage, being a part of the coolest and the best team. And for me, they were the only American team and I looked at it as an American team, even though it wasn't all American. But, you know, trying to learn how to ride. I remember I used to go and rent. They had a video at every video store that was called Cycling for Success. It was in the sports section, video, VHS tape, and it was put out by the 7-Eleven team. And I got to tell you, I watched the hell out of mine. I now have multiple copies of it. I think I've got a DVD of it somewhere. I still have a couple of the original tapes that I bought out. Don't have anything to play them on. But it is available on YouTube. Please go and watch it on YouTube. It'll be a complete waste of an hour for you, but it is just so classic and would explain why I am the way that I am on a lot of things.
Mm. I think I like seeing one-off kits like that more used in like a rest day scenario, like where the team's just out doing their rest day rides between, you know, stages of a Grand Tour.
Well, I mean,
specialty jerseys, but I don't want to see it re-infiltrated into the Peloton.
Yeah, I personally, I enjoyed seeing it. The fact that they didn't have any direct ties to the team or anybody from the team doing it,
it's a little weird.
I kind of found to be a bit weird and kind of bullshit. I did want to buy a kit though, but they were like $150 for the jersey, something like that.
Standard pricing.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to pay that though.
Standard pricing. The bibs are probably $220, $250.
Yeah, I'm just not going to pay that. So, but no one cares if I'm going to pay it. Especially because it was Euro sizing too.
A little bit,
which you know, be like, hey, I'm into a medium now for us, which means I'm in like a
2X,
4XL Euro.
Size, right.
So I wasn't gonna like risk it on that, and the fact that it would have to be shipped over. But in general, I think there's some very iconic kits in cycling, in my opinion. I know other people would disagree with which ones are iconic, but for me, because of the nostalgia and when I grew up, it's a 7-Eleven jersey in the 7-Eleven kit, and I've got like 10 of them at home, original ones.
There's one laying on the floor around here somewhere.
Yeah, that's the one that Rich brought in. It was a long sleeve that the sleeves got cut off on, but he got it from one of the guys on the team. And then Lovia Claire, kind of. But yeah. So
I don't know. I just like seeing teams do new and different things.
Yeah, I don't think it needs a spot in the actual sport, especially in actual current races, unless there's a tie-in to that specific race, or the original people are tied into it for some reason, and or the point of it is to sell kit and raise money for something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, did the original 7-Eleven team have massive success at LBL?
Not to my knowledge.
Who knows?
I don't know.
But
I would have to go and look that up. The only thing I really know about them in terms of success, well, a lot of success on the U.S. side as well as on the European side. So first real American team to make it. So I can talk. I would never talk shit about them. And because of that team, I've actually had to stop talking shit about some people that I wanted to talk shit about because they were on that team.
Yeah. It's probably a good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to talk shit about anybody.
All right, what else we got in that email?
You're growing up.
Oh, shit. Am I growing up?
You are.
I thought I was just growing out.
It's maturing.
Maturing.
You're maturing, Rob. Good job. 50 years old.
I'm going to skip the e-bike one.
Please. I don't want to talk about e-bikes anymore. They're everywhere. That's all you need to know. They're everywhere. They're not going away.
I don't know though. I mean, I should read these as responses to what we've done before. So e-bikes in the city, per your podcast, it seems that e-bikes in the burbs are mostly responsible. I would disagree with that. In the city, I can tell you that they are not. Most of the time, e-bikers aren't wearing helmets and ride at ridiculous speeds. Sounds about the same.
Same.
And don't understand or practice standard riding etiquette. Oh,
Same.
100%. I've never once had an e-biker say on your left as they pass. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I personally I don't doubt what you're saying. I just personally have not really seen it, which is interesting.
You don't ride
I ride
path.
trails a lot. I ride path a lot. And I've been riding a ton, spending a lot of time on that loop trail down in Tucson now. And I see a lot of e-bikes out there, but they're operated by people that are riding responsibly.
People that know how to ride bikes.
Well, they're usually they're not young people riding them. They're usually older people that probably need that little bit of help, and I'm passing them on a non-e-bike. So, and the only time I've ever seen anything that looked irresponsible on the trail was a straight up little motorbike, and I see them on the trail all the time.
I see them
and those are just a bunch of punks.
Pretty much, yeah. It's gotten out of control.
I'm seeing that a lot now, which is blowing my mind.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to regulate it either. You can't. We've talked about this before. You can't. The municipalities aren't going to put their manpower to policing the trail. It's not going to fall on the shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to fall on the shoulders?
It's not going to be on the forest preserves because they're probably already short-staffed as it is.
I actually saw, and I lose track of all the places I've been riding, but I'm pretty sure this was also down on the Loop Trail in Tucson, where I saw one of those radar speed limit things that you go by and tells you what your speed on the trail.
Yes,
that's
awesome. We've got one. We've got one in Dundee.
Yeah. Now, does it make anybody be aware of it? I don't know.
Yeah. No. So the one in Dundee is right over by that chemical plant that lets out all the nice smelling esters.
Okay.
Just north of East Dundee.
Yeah.
Or just north of Jeff's shop.
That might have actually been where I saw it. Maybe it wasn't Arizona. So.
Well, there's one there, and Andy knows about it because they talked about it installing it in whatever group that he was in, and they installed it because of e-bikes, and so the point and purpose of it is they're trying to get speed data on how many users there are, how many are really violating or going really fast through that section. And if you know where it's at the top of that little climb. So there's like this little climb up to it, and then it drops. And I'm usually almost done with my ride at that point and kind of rolling into that. I'm going, 15 up it if I'm lucky, 16. And so coming through and seeing that speed pisses me off just about every time that I see it. And I keep thinking to myself, well, I pointed out to Andy, I was like, why are they putting it there? Because anybody riding a bike is going pretty much the slowest they're going to go on their entire trip at that exact point. And he goes, yeah, that's kind of the point, though, is that they want to catch somebody or they want to get the data on somebody that's going extremely fast.
Yeah, because anybody on an e-bike would be
flying through there.
Right.
Yeah. So they're, as for what are they doing with it, absolutely nothing except for collecting the data to see how much of a quote unquote issue it is.
Interesting.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on with this next one here. We've got, I would also like to note my personal distaste for the practice of riding with earbuds. To cycle our safest, we need to use as many senses as we can to know what's happening around us. Earbuds limit our ability to hear no matter what listening mode they are on. Hearing a car or a fellow cyclist behind is very important to having a safe ride, as it limits surprises and helps us communicate with the rest of the world. I've had many experiences where I've shouted at cyclists who have had earbuds in, who get frightened when I pass them. That happens all the time with runners. Mm-hmm. Several of these incidents have almost led to accidents. I'm sure this issue is made worse in the city, but in my opinion, cycling with any kind of listening device beside a team radio for our pros is dangerous when out on the road. I agree. You do not, correct?
I don't hardly ever ride with headphones.
Yeah. Right. I don't really either.
If I ride with headphones, it's on very low volume, and I'm usually riding while people are still asleep in the morning.
Yeah. If I ride with headphones on, which I don't anymore, but if I do, it would be one headphone. I always leave the one that would have traffic passing me by. No, I leave that one out.
99% of my rides are headphone free.
So I covered this with Andy while I was riding with him the other day. I used to commute and I used to listen. I would have one headphone in the whole time. I listened to podcasts. That's how I did it. And that was back on an iPod Nano. Mm-hmm. So that tells you how long ago it was. But that was when we had wired headphones. Mm-hmm. And I would take the wire and I would wrap it around my helmet strap.
Just pop it out and let it dangle.
And then that way I could pretty much just flex my ear and it would fall out and then just dangle there. That way I could hear anything. Uh-huh. And that era is gone. So like if I were to go and there's been a couple times where I've been like, I wouldn't mind listening to a podcast on this ride. Got nothing, because any earbud or whatever, they fall out of my ears. There isn't a single earbud made that stays in my ear.
Yeah.
So I needed the cords. Now they don't have them. Somebody's going to send me some link to some,
earbud.
Earbud that's got a strap or something on it or some hook.
I have worn just a single earbud in my right ear when I'm down in Florida and I'm going to go do some 4 or 5 hour ride on the trail. Yeah. And there's like hardly anybody out there, and I'm still able to hear anything coming up on the side of me and just a little bit of music. That's about the only time I've ever ridden it. And I know that there have been times where if I got into a congested area, I just turn the music off so that I can listen.
But I find even the times that I end up have a headphone or two in, like 10 minutes in, I'm like, this is annoying. It's just annoying. I just end up taking them out anyway, and then they just sit in my back pocket. Mm-hmm. But they make headphones. Not that I'm promoting this, but they make headphones that actually sit outside of your ear.
Yeah,
and bone then conducting.
It's something I don't know. I don't know what they're called, but they sit outside and give you full audible of everything around you, but you can still hear your.
I believe I've seen those integrated with those cat whatever. Do you remember those
cat ears?
Yeah, where they block or they reduce the wind sound. Mm-hmm. And then they also actively kind of help reduce the wind sound so you can actually hear more.
Yeah.
That is something I would be interested in, only because I'm getting old and I probably need hearing aids. But,
Yeah. That's a story for another time.
So anyway, all right, moving on to, I would also like to, okay, hold on. Okay, he's got Schwalbe 1 tires. They came factory installed in his Canyon Endurance with butyl tubes. He's ridden 5,000 miles plus on them, and he just got his first flat, which happened after hitting a curd at highest speeds. The skid before the curd exposed my tire casing, prompting me to get new tires. So basically, he's like, these tires are amazing. I think they're great. I I'm going to disagree, but that's me.
Schwalbe?
Yeah.
I've ridden Schwalbe's like 5 years ago. Haven't had any since, but they're a very popular tire.
I would say it's a very well-made German tire when it works. But I have seen so many variations in their casings over the years, and so many people we've worked with. At one point, Jeannie was working on prototype tubulars with them.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's one year she came over and she brought a bunch of tubulars that she wanted me to glue, and we had to track them and stuff. There were so many inconsistencies in those casings; it was disgusting. And I've seen some of those treads just come flying off of them, and others that are bulletproof.
Their tire technology probably, like everyone's tire technology has come a long way in the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, but it varies. I mean, I've seen some of their tubeless stuff. They were one of the pioneers in tubeless, in my opinion. They probably did the best at making a production tubeless.
It's a very, like, if you're on the start line of any major gravel race or big gravel race or any gravel race really, grassroots or big, Schwalbe is a very popular tire.
It's very popular overseas as well.
Yeah,
I think it's more popular in other countries than it is here in the U.S. for performance riding and racing. I'm just not a huge fan of them, and it's just the way that it is for me. Let's see. Crit safety. I've been going to Triple X practice crits this year, which have been a great experience. Through the 7 or so that I've done, I have not witnessed a single crash. However, in over half of the real crits that I've done, there have been crashes. Why? Is it because people are more skittish in an actual race? Are they more aggressive since there is a real prize on the table? Or is it the less experienced riders who aren't going to practice crits who are causing the crashes? Track cycling seems to all but require a clinic before racing for the first time. Maybe crits should do the same to make the sport safer. I got a lot to say on this one, but
I've never been to the practice crits, but from what I can see, it's a 2-turn crit. It's pretty safe. You're not going to crash. It's not like, it's a practice crit. Leah, I know you have gone to them. You know how it flows. I've gone to some practice crits back when they were out at Pella in the western suburbs, which were awesome. But again,
I miss those.
I know. It seems like an easy course, and everyone's there to practice, to get better, to give advice, to guide, to mentor, not to rip each other's legs off. I mean, there are probably those people that do, and that's good for them. But
there's some good workouts.
They know what they're doing. They're not going to be the ones that are causing the crashes. Now, accidents do happen. I don't care of your skill level, good or bad. They're going to happen. But, it's a practice crit. You're not going 100%.
Yeah, there was one night at Pella. They had never had an accident, and then there was 2 or 3 accidents in the same night. Yeah. I think 2 of them were caused by the same guy, too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It does happen.
A guy I still beat in cross to this day. But anyway,
it all depends. It all depends on the scenario.
I would say I would agree from the standpoint of you got to think about who's doing an actual crit versus a practice crit. Actual crits, they bring everybody out of the woodwork. You have no idea what their background is, and so that's where, and you got different nerves. Some of the people doing an actual crit may have never raced before in their life. Not only that, they may have never ridden in a fast group together ever.
Yeah, and I think Triple X, from what I can see, does a very good job at putting out the message like, hey, this is a practice crit. This is not a race. Like, there's no prize at the end of it. We're here for a specific reason, and, which is obviously much different than a race scenario.
Now, should there be clinics before people race?
You could argue that.
Okay, so over the years, that has happened. That has been a requirement in different places, including in Illinois at different times. So back in the day, we didn't have Cat 5, but once Cat 5 was added, the whole point of Cat 5 is it's an experience upgrade, meaning that you're only there to gain experience. The whole idea being that you had to race 10 races to upgrade to a 4. Some of this is coming back. I don't take me too seriously on the very specifics, but this is the way that it used to be. You used to have to race 10 times in order to upgrade. Because of the lack of races, sometimes that could be difficult, blah, blah, blah. It became 10 events. So it could be a race or it could be a clinic. And there were clinics that were run. I got to be honest, a long time ago, 10 to 13 years ago or so, the focus, I think everyone thinks that this is a new thing, and it's not, but the focus moved really from men's cycling and developing men's cycling over to developing women's cycling. So all of the clinics in the Chicagoland area specifically turned into women's clinics. There were no men's clinics from that point on. So we haven't had any clinics for men racing crits. The only thing we've had is the practice crits. The practice crits serve as a clinic, in my opinion. So we just stopped doing them. They're out of fashion. And also, when they changed the upgrade system to where it was a self-selected upgrade, buddies listening to each other going, "Oh, just get all the 5s. Just submit your upgrade and you'll be a 4." But the whole point of the 5s was that's your period in time to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
And once you've learned it, then you can be a Cat 4. And that was the way that we did it. Is that the way anybody does it? No, it really isn't. We'll get back to some of that. But as for the track, yes, the track has a really good program. When I started going to the track, you had to race or complete Monday night clinics, a total of 10 of them, before you could be a 4. And you could not race on Thursday nights, which is our race nights, unless you were a 4. So the 5s racing was beginner racing that only occurred on Friday night. And, Val, I know you're listening to this. By God, send me an email with anything I mess up on this. But
it's a good formula.
Actually. Yeah. Honestly, I think it worked. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
The one problem that I had with it is it took me 3 years before I could upgrade to a 4.
I mean, 10 seems like a lot.
It was a lot.
10 seems like a lot because you get rainouts.
That's almost the season.
You get rainouts, and you're missing your opportunity to do what you're set out to do. So that's tough. I mean, 5 seems legit.
And it
had a lot to do with the field sizes back then, because they didn't have the same requirement for women, because women's field sizes were so incredibly small that there was so much. There's plenty of room for everybody to kind of spread out and figure things out. Okay. But the men's beginner fields were so much bigger; they had that requirement. But then, as field sizes shrunk, they kind of went.
I need that.
You're going to sit there and keep clicking it. I'm going to shove it in your ear.
Damn. It's getting violent over here, people.
And as the field sizes shrunk, I think they started to recognize that, they wanted to encourage more people to come race. And if they made it really difficult for people to get to race nights, it was going to get in the way of that.
I was never a big fan of the new racing being on Friday. Somewhere that kind of changed and we integrated. Well, then there was a few years where there was only
special
nights.
A few nights were Cat 5
nights.
So
and now it's pretty much
now it's
everyone.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of like it. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if there's a requirement now that you have to do like a clinic before you actually show up. I know that we recommend it. I can't think of anybody. I think I did hear Val at one point explaining, if you haven't done a clinic, at least get with us beforehand so we can explain the rules. Because there's a lot of rules associated with track. And quite honestly, we have such a good program here at Northbrook that anybody that's even remotely interested in doing track should go out on a Monday night and do the clinic. They have rental bikes that you can borrow. I don't even think you pay for them. You just borrow them. And just bring some pedals if that's important to you. But yeah, just go out and give it a shot. You will learn so much in a Monday night clinic.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you feel so much more comfortable being out there on the track and knowing what's going on. Because if you don't know, there's a lot going on. And you can make some mistakes that could cause some problems and issues. Like passing underneath, but
Yeah. No, I mean, I've always had an open invitation to anybody that I knew in the area that was interested in track. And I said, if you can't make it to a Monday night clinic, meet me at the track. I will meet you there at a day and time that works for you, and I will teach you what you need to know to be safe for your first night of racing.
That's awesome.
And I love doing that. So if anybody local in the area is interested, they can always reach out.
I adored the track, and that's why I'm going tonight. I am actually going to race again. I have glued up new tires. I'm not saying that I'm going to do well, but it's the first time I've pinned a number on at the track in I think 3 years. So
yeah, it's been a while.
I've had more than one number. Some of these are mine, I think. I don't know.
I'll be sporting a whistle tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds uncomfortable. All right.
What else we got?
We got another email, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to do this one quickly, so to speak. Okay, so this one was from Case Holtman, and this one is Tim's response. And I didn't read through all of your response. I got the gist of it. I saw some of the points.
I tried to keep it short.
You're good on, if I hit this, remember what you said for the most part.
Yeah.
All right, so Case said, last year Tim said you should be on your CX bike by June. I'm curious if he just means taking general rides on it to get more comfortable with it, or if he meant to start specific cyclocross training by June.
I think it's a little bit of both, through my own, through my own experiences and through, a little bit of coaching that I've had and research that I've done through my years as a cyclocross racer. I think it's always hard to make that leap from whatever your pre-cyclocross racing looks like. For a lot of people, it was road before gravel ever came around. Now it might be gravel for a lot of people, but your specific cyclocross setup is going to vary and be quite different from whatever your daily driver is during the heart of the summer, whether it's road or whether it's gravel. So you need to reacclimate your body and your muscles to the geometry and the setup of that bike. And if you don't do that, you could run the potential for just kind of going down the rabbit hole and making all these like panic adjustments to try to get your cyclocross bike to feel like whatever bike you're coming off of, which is a bad thing to do, because in turn, that's not what a cyclocross bike is supposed to do. It's not supposed to go super fast and rip around a crit course. Essentially, you could argue that some of our racing in the Chicagoland area is a grass crit, which it is at points. But my point being is your setups are never the same. So you want to reacclimate your body slowly to what that bike feels like again.
So that's just riding it, not necessarily training on it.
I would start to incorporate some little bit longer rides, maybe, hour and a half, 2 hour rides, just to kind of get, because the geometry, if you have a cyclocross specific bike, the geometry is different. Your bottom bracket's higher, whatever you're coming off of and getting on your cyclocross setup, it's different. So
are you saying like convert over and have that be your main rig and do specific training for it? Or are you just saying if you have training happening anyway, like sub that bike in?
I would start to put your cyclocross bike in your rotation. Don't necessarily have to go out and do drills. You could ease into it, if you want to just do some light dismounting and remounting, nothing, hyper focused, but just get yourself familiar with how that bike feels again. And then when cyclocross season starts to get closer and closer and closer, that should become your primary or almost your daily driver if you can.
I could almost see going out for just like once a week if you can, and the trails are open, and hit like a Paul Douglas or something like that. Or
Paul Douglas would be cool.
Forest preserve where you just kind of get used to flowing through dirt on those tires again. And
for those outside of our area, Paul Douglas for us, it's it's technically a mountain bike trail system, but it's very pedestrian. There's not like drops and jumps and.
The west side is very
well. Even both sides, I would have no problem riding both sides with a cross bike.
Yeah,
it's something you can attack with a drop bar bike without a problem, in my opinion.
And it's a nice way to you know, I mean, yeah, you can go out and ride just like on a limestone trail or something,
Yeah.
but, you know, just probably just
Yeah, but you know,
doing a few turns.
yeah, you certainly want to do that. Go to a park and just, you know, find a few trees and start cutting some turns around them, just to familiarize yourself with the handling of the bike, to set up the bike, you know, and just think about, you know, do I want to make any changes to this bike? Not drastic changes. You don't want to try to simulate or change any of your position to mirror the bike you're coming off of, because the bike you're coming off of serves a different purpose than your cyclocross bike, and it rides different and it races different. So you need it to handle differently. But like you said, Leah, go out, start to cut some turns, go to your local mountain bike park, grab some buddies, go set up a small course, and just have, you know, an hour where you're not trying to set power records. You're not trying to do anything other than familiarize yourself with the handling and the feel of your cross bike. That way, when the time for cyclocross is rapidly approaching or approaching faster, you're not behind the 8 ball and you're not struggling. And you can start to incorporate more drills and more speed and get better at. So when cross season hits proper, you feel like all my cobwebs are dusted off.
And then you also noticed, if you haven't started running.
Oh yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, we get lucky here. It seems like in the past few years, we're not running into a lot of inclement weather during our cross season. But depending on where you live, or if you travel for national events, say, you know, whatever, you know, in the USCX series, they're going to have some adverse weather and you're going to have to get off the bike and run. And I've left running until cross season, and it's absolutely terrible. It is the worst thing you could do. You need to actually get out and run, in my opinion. And I would think, don't just throw your shoes on and say, I'm going to go and just practice mounting and dismounting with some runs in the middle. You need to actually have mileage in your legs, with, you know, proper running miles in your legs, with, you know, through, you know, street running or trail running or whatever it is, to have those muscles stimulated and all the connective tissue realize what it's like to actually run again, and then incorporate that into on and off the bike movements.
I say, on my end, I like to incorporate 1 day a week when I'm doing it. And I don't know, it feels like it helps me out quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely. It just makes getting on and off the bike so much easier and more comfortable, because it hurts. If you don't incorporate preseason running into your program and you have to get off your bike and forcibly run up a muddy hill, you're going to pay for that in the days to come.
And I like, in your comment to us responding to this, you were like, you know, if your first runs are in cycling shoes, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed. You're going to injure yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever said go run a 5K in carbon fiber cycling shoes. You have to have that shock to your bones.
Years, you can attest, for years I've had problems with maybe plantar fasciitis, but not diagnosed that way. But
yeah,
and inevitably it comes back every cross season, and it's usually after the first couple races of the year. And even when I wasn't racing, it's because I'm just standing out there and standing in those shoes.
Yep.
For that period of time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think about doing that. You got to think about doing that. And recently, within the last month, I've taken a vested interest in my my overall foot and ankle health, as far as the connective tissues and strengthening those, and strengthening my feet, and getting, you know, I got some of those silicone toe separators, and I just chill out in those for a while to less you know, just promote overall better foot health, and helps with bunion pain and things like that. So I've had a vested interest in that, and it seems like it may be placebo, but it feels like some of the little niggles that I've had don't exist anymore.
Nice.
And that's on top of 15 to 16 miles a week of running, which isn't huge, but it's enough.
15 to 16 miles a week of running would be what I would be doing if I was going to run a marathon.
You know, I'm probably two to three times a week I run. I fully enjoy it, love it. Yeah, those are just my 2 cents through knowledge and experience.
When do you start more focused cyclocross training?
Probably late July, mid to late July. I'll start to do I'll set the barriers up and fumble my way through those for a few weeks, and I'll set some stakes out and cut some turns like you were alluding to earlier. Or I have that little spot that I found over the summer last year. I'll probably go back there and start slow, but and gradually over the weeks start to pick up my pace. And I feel like when I did that last year, heading into the cross season, I hit the ground running in cross season. Like there was no hesitation in my abilities. There was no hesitation in my cornering, my sprint speed, my off the bike, my on the bike. Like it was all dialed. Mm-hmm. And it was like the best thing I could have done. And I was bummed that I didn't do it years prior. Mm-hmm. It just takes that, because there's always that. You don't practice cyclocross all year. Nobody does. Even the best in the world don't do it. Right. They're off doing other things, and they fumble their way through it. And then you can see it when you watch them on TV. They make mistakes, and if you're keen to cyclocross and the mannerisms and what it all means and what you have to do and what's required, you can pick up on that. Like when Vanderpool makes a mistake or Wout makes a mistake, and be like, they're not so sharp yet. And then when it's November, December, and they're sharp as a tack, you're like, oh, they've been riding. So you can tell it takes a while to get all that muscle memory to come back. It just doesn't happen overnight. You can't go from the Gateway Cup on a Sunday and then to the cross field on the next Saturday without crashing.
Yeah.
So it takes time.
Yeah, I've always made a habit of switching over bikes like permanently as my ride everywhere kind of bike over to the cross bike. Using the anniversary that we have of August 1st.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see it even through some social media, depending on who you follow during the cross season. I mean, a lot of those guys are doing their endurance blocks or whatever on their cross bike just with road wheels.
Yeah.
It's just the more time you spend on a bike you don't ride all year, the more comfortable you're going to be. It's kind of simple.
Makes sense.
And one other point that you pointed out was this is the time of year to look at your equipment.
Absolutely. Tires, especially tires, wheels, check your bearings, check your free hub bodies. Come see Rob, get your wheels trued. Come see Leah, get your wheels trued. Because that stuff's just been sitting in probably an unclimate controlled basement in a moist atmosphere or a very dry atmosphere, and your tires are going to suffer.
Yeah. And check tubulars and see if they need to get in for re-gluing. If you need to stock up on tires for the season, because sometimes they're hard to find at the last minute when you need them.
All those small parts that wear out very quick through the course of a cyclocross season have now, in our current climate, gotten exponentially more expensive. So get a jump on that.
So that leads me to think, keep an eye out here. We've got a project kind of going along, kind of addressing the whole tire and cyclocross thing. So it's still in the works. We've got most of it ironed out, and it is going to happen. So if you do need some cyclocross tires, you may want to hit us up first, or contact us, and we'll be able to direct you the right direction, hopefully here within a couple of weeks, as we're putting the final touches on that. But I will say, get your equipment now. Shimano just announced a price increase to us, being dealers. We got the notice this morning. So Shimano parts, I want to say, are going up 15% at 12% at both wholesale and retail.
Yeah. Shoes, helmets, pro bike gear, everything they stock under Shimano is going up 10 to 12%.
So that's just one of the 8 billion other. I literally get price increase. I get price increase emails every day. So
has it hit the tire industry?
I don't want to say no, and I don't want to say yes. So it depends. There are, like, here's a great example. Challenge tires. I was talking to them. There are specific tires that they had in their lineup. Most of them are not made in China. But there are a very small subset of tires that aren't even all that popular here in the U.S. that are made in a molding shop in China. And due to the increases that they're going to see in overall pricing because of the tariffs, they have just made a decision to no longer sell that product in the U.S. They were not the only ones. Silka has made that decision on their new pump.
I saw that.
I have seen and heard of other brands just saying, you know what, we're still going to make it. We're just not going to sell it in the U.S. So it will be harder to get certain stuff. Those particular tires in that example are not ones that we necessarily want, and not the ones that we're looking for. Almost everyone is seeing a modest increase. It all depends on when the item shipped. So when it shipped, it plays a determining role in how much the end tariff is. And I don't know what it is. People still don't understand tariffs. I had a long discussion with somebody online yesterday about it. It's not an argumentative kind of thing. But people want to turn things political, but it has nothing to do with politics in this regard, in that it's easy to figure it out. If you order something from a place that is overseas and its point of origin is overseas, then you are the importer of record, which means that when it comes into the country, there's going to be a tariff assessed to it if a tariff is applicable to the product. This used to not be a thing for consumers because they're buying at a retail level and they're buying items that are usually less than $800. And all that shit has changed. So, I had somebody post the other day, they're like, here, I just got a chargeback on my credit card, an extra, $30 on this. And it's like, yeah, that's because that's the tariff. That's how they decided to get you, is go back through your credit card and charge your credit card in order to be able to do it. The methods for which they're going to do it are going to be varied. It's not going to be straightforward, and you could get noticed many weeks after you've gotten the product or service, So just the way that it is. Bike parts, for sure, more expensive now. So if you're going to need to get stuff, there's not much of a point in delaying, to be honest with you. You might as well get it now while there's inventory and while the prices are still probably like, hey, we had it on the shelf prices instead of we had to just get this. So that's my bit on that. Anything else anybody got?
Well, do we want to hit anything that's coming up race-wise? I know locally, at least for our local listeners.
Sean told you he wanted you to talk about his race, so talk about Sean's race.
Well, yeah, okay. The Commercial Street Criterium in Plainfield, Illinois takes place in August. I want to say it's the 21st.
It's not even June.
Right, I know that it's a little bit far out, but this is the second year that it's going to be held, and honestly, it's one of the best venues and best courses that I think I raced on all year last year. So, I think it's going to get big quickly and be a lot of fun. But coming up immediately this weekend is a bunch of stuff going on. There's the Ride 10,000 out in Elizabeth, Illinois. I know you're going out and you're going out.
Are you doing it?
Yeah, I'll probably do like the 86er.
Yeah, that's what you did last year, right?
Yeah, I don't need to go 120.
Yeah. I'm going to do the 40 whatever.
It's a good time. It's just something to break up the monotony of what we're riding out here.
Is it this? Yeah, that's exactly why I'm doing it, is to be able to go out and ride hills for a period of time. We do have the Horrible Hilly Hundreds coming up.
That is coming up, yeah.
So I kind of want to, and I've got some more climbing in me this year, but it's nice to get out and get some climbing in.
Yeah. I'm heading down to Iowa. I'm doing the Snake Alley Friday night race, the Saturday Snake Alley race.
Nice.
Sunday.
I feel bad for never having gone out there.
Yeah.
It's a great weekend.
I know.
It's a great weekend.
A great 4 days of racing.
I did
really
all 4 last year, and that 4th day was brutal. But
it's well run. All the venues are different. They're unique. Snake Alley's iconic.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I might jump in my car early Sunday morning and come up to Elizabeth, or I'll go do the crit in Muscatine. I'm kind of on the fence.
Now, which of those races is run by Schuler now? Is it Muscatine?
It's the Monday race, the Monday Davenport race.
Okay,
is that Davenport? Right. Yeah, I think it is.
I just remember hearing that he runs one. So
yeah. That's Monday, and that's part of our Illinois Cup Series also for people that are interested in that. And then we have our state championships coming up in Elmhurst.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
That's in June.
June 6th or 7th.
The day after Cobb Park. Or the day before Cobb.
The day before Cobb Park, because then it's Elmhurst on Saturday, and then Cobb Park.
And that's an Omnium.
It's on Sunday, and that is an Omnium. And then pretty much, I think we're like you said, we're doing the
Horrible
stupid
Hilly.
hilly thing.
I think that's a week after.
What I was thinking when I signed up for that. And then we're in like Tour of America's Dairyland, which also we have nationals for juniors and masters at the end of the
Elite Nationals. Are they going on now?
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Elite and Para.
Yeah.
That Elmhurst race sounds good.
Yeah.
The running race.
Oh, no.
Oh, you going to do it?
Do the mile.
Do it. Do it.
Do the mile. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah, I'm toying. For the first time this morning, actually, I looked up the schedule for nationals.
Do they have any information?
Yeah, for amateur road nationals, masters.
It's like over 4 days, isn't it? 4 different venues.
3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it's like venues. June 28th through July 2nd or something. They have a time trial road and crit.
Interesting.
I would only be interested in the crit.
Time trial.
You don't want to do the road? There are no road races anymore. Why wouldn't you want to do the road? Because you're going to get your ass completely handed to you?
I don't do road races as a general rule of thumb. I'm not ruling it out. I guess I won't rule it out.
It's interesting because most people prefer road races over crits.
Oh, no.
You're a crit dog. You're a crit dog.
I love crits.
Yeah.
It's my first love. So
yeah, I get that. But so more people do, in general, do enjoy road races, which is why there was an article apparently in Bicycling or Velo or something. We both saw it independently, the title of it, and it's should there be less gravel and gravel races?
Oh,
and
right.
You know, I don't know
why. What was their reasoning?
I didn't read the article.
I think it had something to do with making the racing more dynamic, similar to a road race.
Yeah, we have that. That's called road racing. But we've all admitted that there are no road races anymore because gravel. Gravel is now the current de facto road racing. And that's why so many people enjoy gravel. Now, granted, there are gravel events that are gravel events. I'm not...
Proper.
Yeah. And then there are gravel events that are
more like
really glorified road races.
Yeah, with gravel sectors.
Yeah. I would say rough road is more of a road race.
Oh,
a traditional road race.
Yeah.
And that's not a derogatory thing. I think it's a great thing. I think it's very good at that.
Yeah.
Personally, I would like to bring back Leland. We were out riding in DeKalb, doing the gravel metric on Sunday. And Anthony said that I was going to bitch about how he tore my legs off the whole time. So here we go. Bitch. I bitched about how he tore my legs off. But we were, one of the turns we were coming up to, I asked Anthony if he saw it on his head unit. He's like, no. I go, it's Leland Road. And he goes, as in the Kermesse? I'm like, yeah. So we were out in that generalized area, and it got me thinking about Leland again. If I were to put on a gravel/road race, that's what I would want to put on. So
yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows where it's going to go?
It's got a stupid storied history, and I like that.
I think gravel races should have more single track.
This I like.
Seriously, if you want to test people's abilities, throw in some single track.
Okay, so there was a race down in Bentonville last weekend called the Rule of Three. Have you heard of it?
I have.
Yeah. So Drake and Brad Dash went out and did it. And that sounds fascinating to me because it's like 3/4 of the race distance is road and gravel. And then the last roughly quarter or to a third, I don't know, depending on the distance, I suppose, is full on single track mountain bike.
Yeah. When I did.
And you get one bike that you have to set up to do the whole event.
Yeah, it's the Rule of Three.
Yeah. So tell me then, why would anybody pick a road bike?
I don't think anybody would, but the question is,
okay, so it's not really a rule
so it's
three.
like, do you do a gravel setup with more mountain bikey tires with a little bit of suspension? Do you do a mountain bike with less aggressive?
Mountain bikes are
you only do a mountain bike if you live in one of those areas where that's all you ride all the time anyway, and so it's your shit and that's what you got. But in general, it's the answer to that is always going to be a gravel bike. It's just a matter of what modifications
I did a couple of years ago when I did BWR Kansas, it was like 80 miles. I did the the wafer. It was 80 miles, but the last 10 of it was all single track in sand, sandy, like up and down single track. And it was so awesome. So awesome. Like sand berms and jumps and up and down. Like it was proper single track.
Yeah.
It was so good. And I think
you say that I would have been there going,
I think, I don't know what the future of gravel racing is. I'm not even going to entertain that thought, but if you want to, develop people's skill sets, throw them in some single track, because that's a whole different dynamic of racing when you're racing to a single track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the next, we're on tarmac now, and we are legitimately, it's like watching the World Tour. Like, you're racing to the last corner, and then you have 10 miles of single track.
Well, from what I understand, that's like how Schwamigan goes. Everyone's racing for the first hill or whatever. Or the one where it goes into single track.
That's a little bit different because it's a kind of a neutral roll on roads until you get into the actual grassy Berkey Trail stuff, Rosie's Field, whatever they call it. But I mean that's early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like I'm just thinking of like the Strada Bianca stage at the Giro.
Yeah.
Where,
do you guys think that stuff is overplayed or not?
I love it.
Taking road races and involving gravel in it just for the sake of involving gravel.
I think it's fun.
I think it's been done decades ago.
It's just nothing new.
It just looks different now because of the way the peloton is now. The speeds are higher, the speeds are faster, the equipment's better. The bikes are more capable. Why not?
I mean, I don't think every single road race needs to go that route. We don't want to see that, but I think that there are some out there like that have that feel.
I got no problem with it, but the dedicated roadie pro tour guys always have seemingly an issue with it because a stage like that can take a GC contender out. And my thing is,
you know what? That
race
GC contender has a responsibility as a professional athlete to understand how to ride his bike on that terrain.
Well, tell that to Primos.
It's not my job. It's not my job. But if I'm a guy like Tom Pidcock, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm
for
foaming
sure.
at the mouth
for
this stage.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Because I have to suffer my ass off through all the other 19 dull and boring stages that don't suit me as a rider.
For sure.
You could go either way, but it does add a certain element of excitement for the viewer, a certain element of danger for all the riders, staff, and people working the race, spectators alike, because crashes can go into the crowd.
Yep.
I remember that one year at Strada where it was super windy and like the peloton exploded. And Alaphilippe did like 6 tumbles because he. It's dangerous. It's straight up dangerous. But even you can argue watching the peloton go 75K an hour on the most beautiful asphalt you've ever seen is inherently dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
It is.
You could make an argument for whether or not it should be included in stage racing because, like you said, it's such a unique particular animal.
And we know that it works great as a one-dayer.
Right. As a one-day event, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So what's the difference of having a stage like the Strada Bianchi stage in the Giro
or having a trial?
Yeah, exactly. But monsooning time trial.
Right.
The
exactly.
Danger is
the same shit.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's just that the dedicated. And
I guess
there's a roadie doing it, but it's the dedicated roadies.
It's the traditional.
The
tradition of it. Yeah.
That, and I think your older roadies are kind of like, we don't really want to do this, but your new generation of
they
roadies
love
coming
it.
in
They're
are like, hell yeah, like your young 20-somethings that are just fearless.
Now, is it just
this
me?
Is good.
We Anthony and I were talking about this on the way of the ride this last weekend, but we both absolutely despise Roglic. Even though there's nothing about him that makes us not like him.
You despise him, but you love him.
Well, we don't hate him, but we despise him for some reason.
There's got to be a reason.
We don't know what it is.
Is it just because he has any Grand Tour he goes to, he has a 90% chance of crashing at least once?
It's that. It's his total lack of panache. It's like he's I don't like him. I don't have any justification.
He's certainly not a Remco or a Wout or a
right, absolutely,
or a Pidcock or any other,
or anybody else in the peloton who would.
I think Primoz is very calculated in what he does. His efforts, his attacks, his thought process. Even in his interviews, he's very monotone.
And Anthony's like, I love listening to him in his interviews. I like him. He seems like a really nice guy.
He's just laid back. He understands probably that it's just bike racing and there's larger things in life, and he just doesn't let things.
Yeah, that's why I hate him. Fuck him. There's nothing else in life.
No, I don't know.
On that note,
I don't know. Everybody's different.
Do we have anything else we want to add?
No.
We're both looking at you.
No.
No, I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing.
So
what's on your sheet?
We hit everything.
We did?
Yeah. Register for Trek. I got to register for the track. I haven't done that yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got to leave here in about a half an hour.
Yeah.
So it's been a good show. Thanks for listening. And we'll do this again. And go buy yourself some buttonhole chamois cream.
Night, folks.
We'll see you.
See ya.
Enjoy the ride.